You know what blows my mind? How many smart, capable corporate professionals are drowning in hustle advice that was never designed for them in the first place. I'm talking about people with master's degree, 10 years of experience, proven track records. They're watching some 22-year-old kid telling them just to grind harder and post content 5 times a day and dance on TikTok. And here's what's crazy. They actually try it. I see them. So they wake up at 5 a.m. to hustle. They try to build a personal brand. They attempt to create content. They launch side hustles in industries that they know nothing about. And so 6 months later, what happened? They are exhausted, they are broke, and more stuck than when they started. Now, because you think I'm about to tell you hustle doesn't work, that's not what I'm saying. Hustle work, it absolutely works. But for who? Not just for you. It's not for you. And what I'm going to share with you in this video is really going to save you months if you're interested, maybe even years of wasted time, wasted money, and wasted potential. So let me tell you a story. Back in 2019, I watched this, it was a brilliant consultant, called James. They tried to follow this hustle advice that he saw everywhere online. So James had 15 years of experience in supply chain management. He was getting paid very well and he was respected. He was good at what he did. But then, of course, he felt capped by his salary. So he knew he was worth more, and so he knew he had the skills. And so he tried to look at how to translate that skill into something bigger. So what did he do? He took a course on Amazon FBA business. Why? Because that was hot that time, that was what the gurus were selling. Then 3 months in, he realized he hated dealing with inventory and then shipping logistics. Ironically, the very thing he was an expert in the corporate job, but now for someone else's product. So he didn't want to do that. So he quit that, then started learning Forex trading. I think lost almost $3,000 in 2 months, then cryptocurrency, then drop shipping, then real estate wholesaling. By the end of the year, this guy, James, had spent over $15,000 on courses, wasted 300 plus hours, and was right back where he started, except now he was disillusioned, financially drained, and questioning if he was even capable of building something. So here's what James didn't understand that I want you to understand, and what most corporate professionals really don't understand. The hustle advice you're consuming was designed for a 20-year-old with no responsibility, no reputation to protect, nothing to lose. It's not for you. It was not designed for you. See, so here's the thing about most hustle advice. Here's the thing. It assumes you are starting from zero, number one. Number two, it assumes you have at least 8 hours a day to create content and do all that. It also assumes you are willing to embarrass yourself online for the sake of going viral. That's what it assumes. So it assumes you have no skill, it assumes you have no experience, you have no network, you have no professional reputation that matters. But guess what? That is not you. He said, can you agree with me? It's not you. You're not starting from zero. You're not starting, you are starting from a place of competence. You don't have the 8 hours. You have maybe 5 to 10 hours per week if you are lucky. So you are not trying to become an influencer. You're trying to simply build leverage. And here's the real kicker. You don't need a big audience. You need a better offer. So most corporate professionals suffer from what I call clarity starvation. So you're not lazy. You are not broke. You are not clueless. You're actually really good at what you do. You already have something. But when it comes to turning that thing into something outside your 9 to 5, you just don't know where to start. You don't know where to start. So you default to what everyone else is doing. Chasing shiny objects, building audiences you don't need, creating content that doesn't even convert because then converts who, and then following advice designed for people who have nothing to leverage in the first place. So let me break this down even further. So you see, the hustle advice says post content maybe 5 times a day, build your personal brand, grow your audience fast. Just start, you'll figure it out later. quit your job and go all in. This is what the hustle culture says. But what you actually need is this: a specific high value offer. That is what you need. A clarity on who pays for what you know. That's the second thing. A system that works with your schedule. That's the third thing. Then proof of concept before you risk anything. And then leverage, not more labor. Yes, so I guess you can see the difference. Hustle advice treats everyone like they are starting on a lemonade stand. But you're not trying to build a lemonade stand. You are trying to turn a decade of corporate experience into a profitable, scalable offer without gambling your career. See, that requires a completely different playbook. It requires everything to be different. So now, let me tell you why this matters so much. Because every week you spend chasing the wrong strategy is a week your expertise depreciates. Yes, that is true. Every dollar you spend on courses that don't apply to your situation is a dollar you could have invested in actually validating demand for your skills. You see, every hour you waste trying to build an audience is an hour that you could spend closing clients who already need what you know. Think about it. So here's what I want you to understand. Your corporate experience is not a liability. It is the greatest asset. But then you've been told it's not enough. You've been told you need to become someone else, maybe an influencer, a content creator, a personal brand. You see, that's a lie for you to be able to start. You don't need 1 million followers. You need 10 right clients. You don't need to post, say, 5 times a day. You need one irresistible offer. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow. You need to build proof of concept while you are still employed. So let me give you a framework I use with every corporate professionals I work with. This is a framework. I call it, leverage versus labor matrix, because most hustle advice lives on the high labor, low leverage quadrant, if we are to talk in terms of that. So you think about cold DMing 100 people a day, posting content 5 times a day, networking constantly, trading time for small wins. Those are the things that the hustle culture promotes. So all labor, no leverage. But there is a different quadrant that is low labor but high leverage quadrant. Let's think about that. One offer that solves a $10,000 problem. One repeatable system that delivers results. You see, that's leverage. One target audience that already has the budget. That's leverage. One sales process that respects your time. That's leverage. So that's where corporates win. That is the quadrant that corporates win. So here's the thing about leverage. Leverage doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things with precision. That's where leverage comes in. If you're a software engineer, your leverage isn't building another app. Your leverage is teaching companies how to migrate legacy systems without downtime, something that you've done 50 times. If you are, say, a project manager, your leverage isn't a productivity coaching. Your leverage is showing mid-sized companies how to deliver complex projects on time without burning out teams, something that you've mastered. If you're an HR director, your leverage isn't generic leadership training. Your leverage is helping tech startups build retention systems that reduce turnover by, say, 40%, something that you have case studies for. So I don't know whether you see what I'm doing here. I'm not asking you to become someone else. I'm asking you to package who or what you already are. That is where the game is. That is your leverage. So let me show you what actually works for corporate professionals, having worked with almost over 100 of them. There are 2 phases. That is it. 2 phases to go from I don't know what to sell to I have a validated offer that people pay for. There are only 2 phases. Phase 1, I call it the translation phase. So this is where you stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a consultant. That's phase 1. You take your corporate experience and translate it into a specific result someone will pay you for. And here's the formula. You begin by answering this question: who do you help? And be specific. not businesses. Try maybe SaaS companies with 50 to 200 employees. Be specific. And then the second question, what's their expensive problem? Not what they want, but what's costing them money right now. 3 is, what's your proven system? You've done this before. What's your system of doing it? So most people skip this phase. They jump straight into building a course or starting a coaching business or into all this kind of thing, putting up website. They're like building a house without a blueprint. What are you building? You need to answer these 3 questions with ruthless specificity before you create anything. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you're a corporate accountant. So what would be the bad positioning? I help businesses with their finances. Now, that is you saying. The better positioning is I help e-commerce businesses earning $500,000 to $2 million avoid tax penalties and reduce their liability by 20 to 40%. So I guess you can see the difference. One is vague, one is valuable. One competes with 10,000 people, one competes with almost nobody. So this is when we come to phase 2 now, validation, the validation phase. This is where you prove people will pay before you build anything complex. And so here is how it works. Step 1, reach out to 10 to 20 people in your target audience, in your target market, and offer to solve their problem for free or deeply discounted in exchange for what? Feedback and testimonial. So step 2, you deliver the result using your existing knowledge. No fancy system, no software, just you and your expertise. So this way you come to step 3, you document what worked, what questions they ask, and what outcomes they got. Step 4, you then turn that into a repeatable offer and then price it based on the value you delivered. Because now you have proof, now you have testimonials, now you can charge what you're worth. So most hustle advice skips validation entirely. They tell you to just launch and see what happens. Now that works for you when you're 22 years old, living with your parent and can afford to fail 10 times. But you're not 22. You have a mortgage, you have responsibilities, you have a reputation. So you can't afford to guess. You need to validate. And here's what's beautiful about this approach. You can do all of this while you are still employed. While you are still employed, you don't need to quit your job. You don't need to go all in from day one. You don't need to burn any bridges. In fact, I teach about this in my corporate escape plan. You need to check out it. So you need 5 to 10 hours per week and the willingness to have conversations with people who have the problem that you solve. That is it. A willingness, a decision to pick a phone and call. So now, here's why most people get stuck and where most people, here's where most people get stuck. So they hear this and think, but I'm not an expert. Let me tell you something that Myron Golden taught me a long time, and it changed everything for me. You don't need to be the expert. You just need to be one step ahead. Yes, one step ahead. If you have solved a problem 10 times in your corporate environment, you are 10 steps ahead of someone who has never solved it. Think about it. So, and that's enough. That's enough. The market doesn't need more gurus. Yes, the market needs translators. People who can take complex corporate knowledge and make it actionable for those who need it. That is it. And guess what? That is you. That is you. But you'll never see it if you keep comparing yourself to the 22-year-old influencer with 500,000 followers. That's not your competition. It's not your competition. Your competition is the $10,000 problem your target market is facing right now that you could solve in your sleep. That is your competition. And so here's another mindset shift that I want you to have. Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an asset. Employees trade time for money. Assets generate value with leverage. That's what assets do. So right now, you are an asset trapped in employees' mindset. So your knowledge, your experience, your problem-solving ability, that's intellectual property. That's intellectual property. And so intellectual property, when packaged correctly, doesn't scale linearly, by the way. It scales exponentially. Exponentially. One offer, 10 clients, say $5,000. That is $50,000. Same offer, same effort, different leverage. You see, so that's the game that you should think about playing, not following up the 20-year-old hustle guy on TikTok. So here's what I want you to do after you finish watching this video. Step one, take this, write down 3 most expensive problems you solve in your corporate career. Write it down. Not task, not task, I'm talking about problems. Things that cost your company time, money, and reputation if they weren't solved. Write them down. Step number 2, pick one. The one that you've solved most consistently. Pick it. Step number 3, identify 10 people or companies who have the same problem right now. So that's your starting point right now. And you don't need a website, you don't need a funnel, you simply need, and you don't even need 10,000 followers. You need clarity on your offer and then conversations with people who need it. Everything else is noise. Everything else is noise. And I know you are sitting there thinking, okay, that makes sense, but I still don't know exactly how to package my experience into an offer. Yes, and that's why I created something specifically for corporate professionals like you. I call it the two-phase offer builder. It's the exact system I use to help busy professionals turn their job skills into profitable offers without quitting their jobs or spending 40 hours a week creating content. So if you want that, you want access to that, check the link in the description. It's a live workshop every Tuesday. But whether you work with me or not, please stop following hustle advice that wasn't designed for someone like you. You are not starting from zero. Get me on that. You are starting from competence. So act like it. Act like someone who is coming to the table with something. So look, I get it. I get it so well. The hustle advice is everywhere. It is loud, it is flashy, it promises quick results, but you are not built for quick and flashy. You are built for sustainable, scalable, and strategic. That is very key. You don't need to hustle harder, you need to leverage smarter. And once you understand that distinction, I believe everything will change for you. So stop chasing audiences you don't need. Stop building businesses in industries you don't understand. Stop that. Stop wasting your time, your money, and your expertise on strategies designed for people with nothing to lose. Stop that. You have everything to leverage. Start there. Start with what you have. And if this video helped you see your situation differently, do me a favor. Hit the like button. And above all, I want you to subscribe. And if you don't mind, drop a comment below telling me what's the one expensive problem you solve in your corporate career that you could turn it into an offer. What's that one thing? I read every comment and I'll personally respond to as many as I can. So I'll respond to you. So thanks for watching. And guess what? I will see you in the next one.